Commander Elias Rook slid the holographic proposal across the summit table, its glowing de-escalation corridors pulsing like veins between contested shipping lanes. This binds us all. Vraxian patrols here, human security there, neutral observers verifying compliance, trade resumes, tensions drop, sign it. The Vraxian envoy, Subcommander Thalcrex, bared his serrated mandibles in a hiss that passed for disdain among his kind. His chitinous armor gleamed under the station's sterile lights, compound eyes flickering over the projection. Merchant species dictate terms. The Dominion probes weakness. Your corridors invite our fleets. He slammed a claw down, shattering the hollow into static sparks, and stormed out with his retinue, tails lashing. Elias exhaled slowly, rubbing the bridge of his nose as the chamber emptied. The summit had dragged 12 hours. Humans outnumbered 10-1 by Vraxian bulk and Korathi observers. No signatures, just veiled threats. He gathered his data slate, nodding to his aide. Log it as proposal extended. Prep contingency briefs for the fleet. Outside the chamber doors, Captain Sairi Kor waited in the corridor, her tawny fur bristling under the Korathi honor sash. 4 meters of coiled muscle and razor claws, she towered over the human escorts, her slit-pupiled eyes narrowing as Elias emerged. Commander Rook. The compact. Your diplomats foist this mating bond on my clan to guarantee human trade lanes? I reject it. Korathi do not leash ourselves to soft traders for political theater. Elias met her gaze evenly, unflinching at the casual insult woven into her precise standard. Her voice carried the gravel of endless dueling sands, each word a tested blade. Captain, it's not theater. The Dominion eyes our borders. This alliance shares intel, enforces neutral zones. Your clan's warriors as bonded witnesses, mutual strength. She flicked an ear, tail coiling tight. Bonded? By mating compact? I am no broodmare for human promises. My duty is escort and observe. The proposal insults honor. Her claws flexed, scoring faint lines in the deck plating. Understood, Elias said, voice level. But stay embedded. Monitor us yourself. Prove humans unworthy if that's your measure. Sairi's whiskers twitched, weighing his calm against the Vraxian bluster she'd witnessed. Humans. No posturing, no roars. Just persistence. I remain to watch you falter, nothing more. Far across the border void, in the shadowed nerve center of the Vraxian cruiser Dreadfang, War Master Zothfrain hunched over his tactical throne, his scarred hide rippling with anticipation. Probing raids, he growled to his bridge swarm, mandibles clicking orders into the comms. Strike human shipping lanes. Lane Theta. 7. Capture crews for leverage. Test their spine. If they bleat for mercy, we claim the corridor. His officers chittered assent, claws dancing over consoles. Zaith's mind raced through conquest theorems. Terror shattered trade species. Humans with their endless merchant hauls would fold like cargo webbing. No mercy kills, prisoners break morale. Alarms pierced the black 2 cycles later. Elias's command deck thrummed with urgent pings as the Vanguard's sensors lit up. Raids confirmed, sir. 3 freighters hit, Vraxian corvettes boarding. Crews signaling distress. Elias strapped into his station, eyes scanning feeds. Non-lethal interdiction. Deploy rescue teams, drones with EMP nets first, Marines in exosuits for recovery, rules of engagement, disable ships, extract our people, no pursuits into Dominion space. His voice cut through the chatter, steady as hull plating. Lieutenant Hara, his ops officer, hesitated. Sir, political fallout. Council's already criticizing restraint after the summit. It back harder? Restraint wins wars. Elias replied, fingers flying across logistics overlays, rerouting supply drones mid-flight while plotting evac vectors. Recover everyone. Show the galaxy we protect without becoming them. Shuttle bays hissed open, Marines in sleek gray exosuits launching toward the chaos. Elias watched the feeds. Vraxian corvettes grappled freighters like parasites, border swarming holds. Human drones streaked in, EMP bursts blacking out enemy drives, Marines cut through airlocks, pulse rounds dropping Vraxians in stunned heaps, non-lethal gel rounds swelling joints. No blood-spilled brank. One feed grainy from damage, a freighter's engine deck, Marines hauling crewmates free. But shadows stirred, A Vraxian border team, cloaked in stealth weave, slipped past into a data core. They jacked in, ripping route manifests before vanishing into an escape pod. Borders loose, Elias muttered, heart rate spiking but hands steady. Public panic if announced. Civilian routes exposed. Quarantine that intel. No leaks. Shift all traffic to backups. Silent running. Archivist Nemet Tal floated in the Vanguard's observer pod, her elithic tendrils quivering as she etched data crystals with unblinking eyes. The Dominion's pre-raid boasts filtered through intercepted bursts. Merchant species will cower. Yet here humans orchestrated rescues with surgical calm. No vengeful barrages, just disciplined pulls from the fire. She cross-referenced. Human crews back aboard. Med bays treating minor wounds. Vraxian captives secured in holding cells under Geneva protocols. No executions. No broadcasts of victory. Nemez's bioluminescent spots pulsed brighter, curious. Dominion contempt rang hollow against this quiet steel. Sayuri prowled the command deck periphery, her enhanced senses picking up the human's rhythm. Elias juggling fleet reallocations, crew rotations, psyche valves for rescued spacers, all without raised voices or fatigue cracks. One Marine, arm singed from a lucky Vraxian shot, joked through painkillers about another drill, no complaints. Her tale stilled. Insults from the summit echoed oddly now. Their discipline mimicked Korathi arena focus, but layered with logistics, caring for the weak without show. A soft chime pulled her to Elias's side station. He glanced up, data slate glowing with shifted civilian routes. "Captain, your read on the raids?" She leaned in, nostrils flaring at his steady scent. No fierce sweat, just resolve. "Vraxians test you. You pull back your claws." "Why?" "Claws out too soon, we lose the board," he said, tapping a projection of layered contingencies. "They want prisoners for leverage, we deny them escalation." "Your eyes confirm it fair?" Her ears perked. "Fair." Korathi honor demanded blood for blood, yet this prevented wider blood. "Your people endure. No panic. Unusual for traitors." Elias shrugged, humble deflection in the tilt of his shoulders. "Just work. Stay close. Monitor that if you want. We could use Korathi ground insight for next drills." Nemet Tal drifted nearer, tendrils logging the exchange. Sayuri caught the archivist's gaze, neutral recorder, but spots aglow with unspoken notes. In Dreadfang's holding bay, Zathvran reviewed escaped borders hall, full civilian route data, habitats ripe for deeper strikes. "Excellent," he rasped. "Now we carve true weakness." Elias stared at the sealed intel brief, the weight settling. Public silence bought time. Reroute habitats hardened defenses, but cracks showed. Council murmurs of weakness growing louder. Sayuri lingered by his station as the deck quieted. Shift change humming efficient. "I stay close. To monitor humans." Her voice held a new edge. Not rejection, but watchfulness. Unaware the Dominion's claws already grasped civilian targets. Sayuri's taloned fingers drummed once on the console edge, her violet eyes locking onto Elias Rook's. "I accept the mating compact, Commander. As tactical pledge, Korathi neutrality holds. Against Dominion slide. I bind to your structure now." Rook nodded, his jaw set under the bridge lights, feeling the weight settle like an extra grab plate on his chest. No ceremony, no fanfare, just words over a flickering hololink to her homeworld registry. The political knot untied itself in that moment, her presence now his ground liaison by galactic law. He keyed his auth code into the station, sealing it, accepted. "Welcome to the chain of command, Captain Kor." She tilted her head, feathers rustling. A Korathi sign of assessment, not warmth. "Monitor closely. Humans, unproven in claw." But she stepped to his side, station readouts reflecting in her eyes as shift change wrapped crews filtering out with quiet efficiency. Rook turned back to the tactical overlay, fingers flying across dual panels, fleet dispositions on one, supply manifests on the other. "Helm, execute redeploy Alpha. Shadow Squadron to perimeter pickets." Silent running. Reserves stayed dark until pinged. His voice stayed level, every syllable measured. Diplomacy channels hummed open on a tertiary screen, broadcasting routine patrols to the neutral observers. No escalations visible, yet. "Alpha confirmed, sir," the helmsman replied. vectors shifting like clockwork. Rook layered in the hidden activations next, civilian haulers retrofitted as drone carriers, merchant convoys masking sensor buoys. Multitasking the feeds, he cross-checked fuel margins against sim projections, noting the Korathi frigate's slot in the line. Sayuri watched, silent, her breathing steady through the translator implant. Reserves live in 12, he murmured to her. Diplomacy mask holds, no wider war. Her crest dipped fractionally, clever veil. But Dominion smells weakness in traitors. He met her gaze unflinching. We'll see. Far across the void, in the Vraxian command nexus aboard the Dread Clasp, Warmaster Zath Vrain savored the holomap's glow on his chitinous hide. His mandibles clicked in anticipation, aids scattering as he stabbed a claw at the pulsing icon. Halcyon Spire, human border habitat. Evacuation drill in progress. Perfect veil for punishment. Demonstration strike, Vrain rasped, voice like grinding gravel. Maximal lesson. Shelters primary. Life support secondaries after. His yellow eyes gleamed. Terror broke trade species always. Humans, with their soft hulls and merchant fleets, would fold fastest. Tactical officer hissed affirmation. Lance batteries priming. Pods away on your mark, Warmaster. Yield projected. Total submission relay in hours. Vrane's crest spines flared. Mark. The Dread Clasp shuddered as strike pods launched, a swarm of void black hornets blotting stars. Halcyon Spire loomed serene, a spinning wheel of habitats, lights winking in drill sequence. Civilian shuttles easing out in ordered lanes, no defenses flared, humans trusted words over fangs. Inside the primary shelter dome, alarms whooped as the first impacts bloomed. Lena Rook gripped a bulkhead. Her relief team frozen mid-triage drill. Wounded sim patients scattered. Evac protocols. Children first. Move. Her voice cut through panic, steady as she waved medtechs toward the inner locks. A child's cry pierced the din. A girl, no older than 8, clutching a toy drone. Lena scooped her up, juggling a satchel of vitals monitors while keying her wrist comm. Spire control. This is Rook relief. Shelter breach. Casualty wave incoming. Bulkhead seals hissed failure. Atmosphere vented in screams. Vraxian breachers punched through, claws rending airlocks, plasma lances searing redundancies. They herded screaming clusters into kill zones, bolts flashing methodical, children clustered in corners, eyes wide, guardians shielded futilely. One Vraxian sergeant laughed, mandibles wide, as he torched a lifepod creche. Redundancies fried, oxy mix igniting slow. Lena shoved the girl into a service duct, sealing it with her own bodyweight brace. Stay quiet, love. Help's coming. Her hands flew. Comms open to extraction teams, casualty log auto-syncing, drone feeds, survivor counts ticking live to fleet relay. Multitasking through the burn in her lungs, she patched a second child in beside the first, then hauled a med kit to the next cluster. On your feet. Crawl space chain. Shuttles clawed in from the rim, tractors snagging debris fields. Lena's log captured it all. Timestamps, biometrics, hollow snaps of charred cradles, child-sized husks amid the glow, political firestorm kindling, evidentiary steel for the core worlds. Her brother's fleets would feel this. Survivors piled into her lead hauler, coughs ragged, eyes hollow. They targeted the young. A father gasped, clutching his singed son. Lena nodded grimly, plotting jump vectors while rationing masks. Logged every second. Endurance held her steady. 8 hours, no rest, organizing extractions amid the wreck. Human normalcy, etched in blood. Aboard the Vanguard, Rook's bridge snapped taut as the first ping hit. Spire hit, casualties streaming, sir. Comms officer's face paled, feeds blooming. Burning wheel, pods swarming. Sayuri leaned in, feathers bristling. Dominion. Demonstration kill. Rook's fists clenched on the armrests. Controlled fury coiling like a spring. Lena's face flickered on subscreen. Smoke streaked directing haulers. Brother, 3,000 confirmed. Children in the shelters. Full record outbound. The numbers drilled in. Innocence. Deliberate. His sister's voice cracked once, then hardened. He exhaled sharp. Extract all you can, Lena. Fleet support en route. Diplomacy channels winked dead. He pulled the war declaration template, fingers steady as he amended. Total war. Lawful. Explicit cause. Massacre of civilians, children included. Restraint clauses locked in. No reprisals on non-coms, no WMDs, engagements by row. But mobilization clauses unlocked everything else. Reserves full surge, logistics chains tripled, shadow fleets live. Captain Core, he said. Voice iron. Witness this. Sayeri's eyes widened fractionally as the dock sealed, auth stamp glowing. Archivist Nemetal materialized on split feed, her crystalline form flickering from observer shuttle, illithic neutrality binding her record. Declaration received, Commander. Restraint noted, yet scale unprecedented. Rook keyed fleet-wide. All units, War Order Epsilon, targets. Dominion aggressors only. Engage. Consoles lit like a supernova. Ships ghosting from shadow berths. Haulers shedding merchant skins for missile racks. Sayeri stared at the overlay, crest flattening in shock. Humans, the traitors, unveiling fangs deeper than any scout net predicted. Not rage, precision, logistics web spinning vast. Reserves materializing from nowhere. Impossible, she murmured, mandibles parting. Your depth. Hidden so long? Rook met her gaze, humble weariness in his eyes. Just planning, Captain. For the cost we pay. Nemez Facet's pulsed data streams, her voice a chime of awe. Galactic's note, humanity mobilizes not in fury, but forge, restraint amid storm. Lena's hauler jumped clear, her log burrowing into every neutral archive. Political demands surged. Decisive action now. Vron's nexus would reel soon. His demonstration birthed a human campaign machine, cold and inexorable. Rook leaned forward, plotting first intercepts. The galaxy watched, unaware yet of the quiet fury building. Not vengeful, but total. War, by their rules, till mercy could stand strong. Rook's fingers danced across the holographic interface, locking in the activation codes. Deep in the system's outer belts, concealed shipyards hummed to life, ghost factories churning out drone swarms and corvette squadrons from prefab hulls stockpiled years ago. Reserve fleets, mothballed in asteroid hollows, ignited engines in synchronized waves, their signatures masked until the last possible second. Sayeri Kor stood rigid beside him on the flag bridge of the enduring oath, her Korati crest feathers twitching with barely contained tension. Nemetal, the illithic archivist, floated in a restraint field nearby, his bioluminescent tendrils pulsing erratically as the display unfolded. Branching campaign trees, each node a contingency layered on logistics chains, feints, and fallback resupplies. Humans called it redundancy planning. To Sayeri, it looked like a predator's web, spun in secret. Commander, Sayeri said, her voice a low growl through the translator. You hid this depth from the Accord? From me? Rook didn't look up, his eyes tracing intercept vectors. Diplomacy demanded discretion, Captain. The Vraxians probed our borders for decades. Trade disputes, not invasions. We prepared without provocation. Now, it's active. He tapped a projection. 3 full battle groups materializing on the TAC map, vectors converging on Dominion supply lanes. No bluster, just cold efficiency. Nemez tendrils flared brighter, his archival node whirring as it ingested the data. Impossible, the illithic thought, cross-referencing Accord intelligence. Humans were traitors. Not this. Their archives showed no such infrastructure. Yet here it bloomed, pre-planned to the gram of fuel. This rivals Korathi war nests, Nema murmured, voice like rustling leaves. How did your species conceal it? Logistics, Rook replied simply. Queuing the next phase. We multitask, shipyards double as miners. Fleets train in sims while hauling cargo. He didn't boast. It was just how fleets ran. Enduring shifts without burnout. Crews rotating seamlessly. Sayeri's mandibles clicked, a grudging respect flickering past her resentment of their forced compact. This male, her bonded by Accord politics, was no soft merchant. Controlled, yes, but the fury simmered beneath, leashed by those endless branches of restraint. Phase 2, Rook ordered. Cyber units, human specialists nested in stealth sats, slipped into Dominion comm relays like shadows. No brute hacks, elegant worms burrowed, spoofing signals feeding Vrain's outposts ghost data. Forward groups blinked isolated on the map, their queries looping unanswered, while civilian nets stayed pristine. No blackouts, no panic, just surgical blindness. Relays secured, a cyber chief reported, her voice steady after 18 hours at the console. Vrain's theater net is ours. Isolated, without trace. Rook nodded. Good. Hold civilian flows. Endurance like that, humans pushing through fatigue others would flag. Kept the war lawful. Costs tallied but contained. The Joint Task Force struck at dusk cycle on Vraxian Depot Prime. Armored hub pulsing with munitions crates and fuel drones. Sayuri rode the breaching shuttle with Rook's Marines, her plasma lance humming. Neme tucked in an observation pod behind Korathi heavies. The Oath's gunships laid suppressing fire, precise, sparing the perimeter habs, while drop pods punched through the dome. Marines in mag-locked exos stacked at the breach, breaching charges blooming orange against ceramite corridors. Vraxian defenders, hulking spike-armored brutes, poured fire from killboxes, bolts chewing armor. Sayuri charged flank, her lance carving a path, but the humans held formation like a living wall. Private Torres took a grazing hit, armor venting, yet he dragged a wounded squadmate back, popping stim patches while calling medevac cords. No rage screams, just clipped reports. Casualty 1, leg breach. Covering fire sustained. Discipline, Sayuri realized. Dodging a plasma arc, Korathi warriors dueled for glory. These humans multitasked, firing, scanning for civi signals, adhering to ROEs even as blood slicked the deck. Hostiles in Grid 5, possible prisoners beyond. No fire through walls. A Marine squad breached the core vault. Grenades rattling. 2 fell. Gomez eviscerated. Chen crushed under a collapsing brace. But they secured the depot intact. Raxian crew surrendering in stunned clusters. Sayuri's heavies mopped remnants, but it was human grit that pinned the center. Endurance holding lines through pain. Pattern spotting traps aliens barreled past. Back aboard the Oath, Rook reviewed the after-action. Medbay's already triaging. Sayuri entered, crest feathers slick with residue, Nema trailing with fresh recordings. Your troops, they fought chained, she said, mandibles flexing. Orders over instinct. We lost none to overreach. Cost of rules, Rook said, eyes on casualty lists. 12 wounded. 4 KIA. Faces he knew, Torres, the family man. Gomez, fresh from civi relief rotations. Fury tightened his jaw, but he channeled it. Process prisoners standard. Meds. Intel debrief. Accord custody. Sayuri's eyes narrowed. They butchered your habitats, children. Summary would be justice, not ours. He met her gaze, unflinching. We set precedent. Mercy enforces law. Slower tempo, yes, ships detoured for prisoner hauls, but it isolated Vrain further, his terror optics crumbling under neutral observers like Neme. Neme's tendrils glowed steadily now, archiving the feeds. Humans didn't just win, they sustained victory, resilient where others frayed. War Master Zath Vrain snarled in his forward command blister, the raid's ghost reports flickering erratic. A pinprick reprisal, he growled to his staff, spikes rattling. Humans poked, then fled. Soft, as expected. No pursuit of his raiders, just this depot snatch. Panic overreach. Doublespeak terror ops, he ordered, broadcasting hostage feeds. Bound traders from fringe stations. Screams amplified across nets. Scorch retreat routes. Leave nothing for their logistics fetish. His analysts nodded. Conquest theory intact. Break them with fear. Force kneel. But the relays glitched. Broadcasts looping to empty voids. Civilian worlds untouched. Vrain's forward groups radioed silence, isolated packs turning desperate. Rook watched the intercepts on spool in the flag bridge, Sari at his shoulder, Nemeth logging every ping. He's blind, Rook murmured, doubling down. Predictable. The depot data crystals yielded gold, decrypted slates listing targets. Civilian hub Epsilon. 9 topped it. Habitat arcology. 500,000 souls. Next in Vrain's terror chain. Timetable. 48 hours. Rook leaned into the plotter, fingers flying, reserves redirected, cyberworms retasked. We race it. Joint strike. Full arms. But Civi evac first. Sayuri gripped her lance hilt, a fierce grin splitting her mandibles. Nemez light pulsed approval. The galaxy's eyes narrowed on feeds. Whispers building. Humans, lawful to the bone, moved with depth no one saw coming. Quiet fury accelerated, not vengeful, but total. Epsilon 9 hung in the balance. Commander Elias Rook's fingers danced across the tactical holodisplay, locking in the final vector for the first wave. Execute Phase 1, he said, voice steady as the deck hummed beneath his boots. Jump drives ignited across the fleet, slicing silent through the void toward the Dominion's primary fuel depot in the Epsilon 9 outer belt. From the command deck of the UNS Reliant, Rook watched the projections bloom, freighters scattering like startled fish, Raxian pickets firing blind into the dark. His teams, human logistics specialists who'd pulled double shifts mapping supply chains from scraps of intercepted chatter, had predicted every convoy route. No grand fleet clash, just surgical cuts. Fuel tanks ruptured in controlled blooms, denying Brain's war machine without wasting a single missile on hulls. Sayari Kor gripped the boarding harness beside her Korathi squad, her crest flattening against her scalp as the shuttle shuddered into the depot's shadow. Humans call this restraint, she muttered to her second, eyes on the feed from Rook's strikes. Linked by the compact that bound them, political necessity turned battlefield pact. She'd expected bluster, not this knife-work precision. Her warriors, honor-bound observers, exchanged ridges of unease. Raxians screamed defiance over open channels, but no civilian hulks burned. Validate and tag, Sayari ordered, her voice cutting through the translation hum. Her team breached the munitions hauler first, claws and mag boots syncing with human drone feeds. Inside, crates stamped with Dominion seals. No refugee markings, no hidden families. She slapped the confirm beacon, and Rook's corvettes peeled away, leaving the prize intact for later claim. One Korathi grunted approval. They do not slaughter blindly. Curious. Back on the Reliant, Rook multitasked the feeds. Phase 2 vectors adjusting in real time as scouts reported Dominion munitions caches shifting. His ops officer, bleary-eyed from 18 hours straight, cross-referenced alien nav logs humans had cracked overnight. Adaptability, born of late nights poring over Korathi phrasebooks and Vraxian encryption quirks. Trap minefields ahead, sir, she said. Vron's baiting the main lane. Rook nodded, already pivoting. Route Gamma 3. Sync ground teams with orbital, hit the surface refineries while we ghost the flanks. No hesitation, just the grim math of war. Deny, degrade, endure. His fleet adapted seamless. Shuttles rerouting mid-jump, ground pounders on the asteroid outposts digging in for the long haul. Vraxian drones swarmed, but human point defense multitasked suppression and resupply. Crews rotating without a whimper of fatigue. Sayari's second wave punched into a contested freighter, her blade flashing to disarm a Vraxian sentry. Clear for strike, she barked into the comm, her team fanning out to scan holds. A hidden civilian pod pinged. Korathi refugees, not Dominion. She yanked the abort signal herself, and Rook's guns went cold. Trust rippled through the link. Her warriors fought fiercer now, validating targets with a precision that shamed rote scans. Your mate plans like a duel master, one admitted post-breach, crest rising. Sayari felt the compact's weight lighten, resentment yielding to alliance. Deep in Epsilon, 9's command nexus. Warmaster Zath Vrain's spines bristled as holos flickered red. Fuel gone, munitions choked. Humans hadn't charged his kill zones, just bled his lines dry. Primitives, he snarled to his aides. They nibble like vermin. But doubt gnawed. His terror campaigns meant to shatter soft traders, met only silence. No reprisal raids on his worlds, just this relentless squeeze. A calm burst from his negotiator. Warmaster, we offer parley. Cease your interdictions. We guarantee no further incidents. The subtext clear. Threats of more civilian pyres, like the border habitat massacre that sparked this. Rook's response crackled fleet-wide. Calm as vacuum. No talks until verified halt to atrocities and full observer access. Illithic feeds only. He cut the line, eyes on Lena's relief tallies streaming in. His sister's network groaned under the influx. Wounded from skirmishes piling into ad hoc stations. Civilians who'd fled Vrain's blades now straining medbays. On the overburdened triage deck of the UNS Mercy, Lena Rook wiped sweat from her brow, directing drones to the next pallet of synth blood. Prioritize fractures, Braxian shrapnel patterns, she called, her voice hoarse from coordinating across 3 systems. Political hawks pinged her net, demanding firebomb responses. Indiscriminate payback for the children lost. She forwarded Rook's rejection formal. Rules hold. Sustainment first. Lena's teams, volunteers who'd bonded overnight with Korathi medics, multitasked triage and data logging, pattern recognizing wound clusters to predict Dominion ambushes. An Elithic observer, archivist Neme Tal, hovered nearby, tendrils quivering as she cross-checked feeds. Your brother's forces spare neutrals, Neme murmured, stylus flying. Dominion logs confirm. Targeted only. Neme's broadcast hit galactic nets hours later, her neutral voice threading verified holos. Vraxian blades mid-atrocity on the habitat, contrasted with Rook's strikes, logistics ghosts. No civilian ash. Humans enforce law with depth unforeseen, she intoned, her archive drones capturing Sayeri's boarding validations. Neutral systems stirred, sanctions votes tipped, basing rights offered in the outer rims. Whispers built. Not rage, but resolve. Sayeri linked back to the Reliant midphase, her shuttle docking as Rook's fleet consolidated. She strode the bridge, crest high, ignoring the human crew's quiet nods. Your adaptation saved 3 civilian hulls, she said, mandibles clicking approval. Korathi honor demands I stand firmer beside you. Rook met her gaze, no boast, just fatigue in his eyes. We adapt together. Your validations keep us clean. The compact hummed deeper now, professional pact forging friendship and shared costs. A Korathio wounded in her last breach, humans pulling shifts that would drop aliens flat. Vrain's nexus darkened as the third system's munitions depot went dark, human ground teams enduring zero-G marathons, sinking strikes with Sayeri's intel. His supplies cratered, fleets idled, troops rationed. They will break, he growled, but aides shifted spines uneasily. Human endurance mocked Vraxian blitz doctrine, mere traitors outlasting conquerors. Cornered, Vrain's claw slammed the override. Release the bioagent. Veil. 7 strain. Flood their advance vectors. Break them before they choke us dry. Forbidden by galactic edict, a shadow from old wars. His aides froze, but orders cascaded. Epsilon. 9's balance teetered. The galaxy's eyes widening on the feeds. Humans, lawful to the core, would face this escalation, not with fury, but Total War's next inexorable step. Lieutenant Hara's voice cut through the bridge hum like a knife. Canisters confirmed, Commander. 3 clusters. Veil 7 markers. Drifting toward Epsilon, 9's primary habitat moon. Impact in 90 minutes if unchecked. Elias Rook's fingers tightened on the armrest. His gaze locked on the holodisplay where red trajectories snaked toward the glowing orb of New Harmony. Home to 2.7 million souls, mostly human civilians, refugees from the border massacres. No hesitation. Full intercept. Quarantine protocols now. Seal the moon's orbitals, deploy med shuttles from the Mercy Wing. Evac priority to surface domes. Alert the Korathi liaison. Captain Sayeri needs to witness this. Orders rippled out, crisp and mechanical. Rook felt the weight settle deeper, the controlled churn in his gut that came with every escalation. Vron wasn't bluffing. This was the Dominion's shadow playbook. Bioweapons banned since the Veil Accords, lawful total war meant meeting it head-on, not mirroring the savagery. His teams moved like a well-oiled machine, scramble fighters from the 7th Squadron, tractor beams priming, Viro-scanners spinning up. Sayeri Corps stormed onto the bridge minutes later, her iridescent scales flaring with restrained fury, the mating compact band glinting on her wrist like a chain. Humans release such filth on my worlds, and you quarantine? Strike them from the void. Rook met her golden eyes steadily. Voice level. We contain first. Proof for the neutrals. Your hardliners want blood. I want victory that lasts. She hissed but held position. Claws tapping the console as feeds showed the intercept. Sleek human drones latching onto the canisters, hauling them into containment barges. No leaks, yet. Down in the innovation bays of the UNS Endurance, Dr. Lena Voss and her team hadn't slept in 36 hours. Elias checked the progress feed while coordinating evac streams, multitasking the nightmare as med teams dropped auto-injectors to surface clinics. Voss's voice crackled over comms. Veil 7 sequenced. It's a chimeric nightmare. Vraxian nerve toxin fused with Korathi blight vectors, but we've got a counteragent base. CRISPR rigs tailoring antibodies now. Drones prepped for aerosol decon in 4 hours, Rook nodded to himself, ignoring the burn in his eyes from 16 straight on the bridge. Humans pushed through. It was just what you did. Field it. Limit the bleed. By dawn cycle, drone swarms blanketed the moon's atmo, misting the counteragent in precise grids. Spread contained to 3 domes. 800 dead, 2,000 quarantined. Not zero, never zero. Elias reviewed casualty lists, faces of aid workers and kids flashing by. The cost etched lines deeper into his face, but his voice stayed even for the all hands. We adapt. We endure. Next phase. He greenlit the strike that shift. Ghost team. Insert on Vrax Prime outpost. Lab intact. Capture the gene printers, data cores. High risk accepted. Captain Reza's Spec Ops unit dropped silent from stealth corvettes, threading Dominion pickets. Sairi watched the feed beside him, her tail lashing. Your soft traders send warriors into the maw? Engineers with rifles, Rook corrected. Eyes on the TAC map. Reza's team breached under fire, Vraxian claws shredding 2 in the corridors before EMP bursts felled the guards. They dragged out the lab core, proof of Veil 7's origin, serials matching Vrain's fleets. But Reza's voice came ragged. Lab secured, 8 Kaya. Wounded piling, exfil hot. Elias clenched his jaw, authorizing covering fire that cost a frigate's shield array. 23 human lives for the evidence that would sway neutrals. Worth it? Had to be. Sayari turned from the feed, her scales dimming to a thoughtful bronze. You count each loss. Vraxians spend squads like chaff. Everyone matters, Rook said simply. Or there's no line left. On the Korathi heavy cruiser Thornspike, Sayari faced the hardliner council via hololink. Her bonded mates compact burning like accusation. Warlord Kresh snarled from the projection. Tusks bared. The humans falter at poison, demand blood repayment, raise their moons in kind. No, Sayari's voice rang clear, claws splayed in defiance. Rook contains the blight. Strikes for proof. His rules preserve our legitimacy with Illithics and beyond. Bloodlust loses the war. Murmurs rippled. Kresh's eyes narrowed, but she held firm, invoking the compact. I stand with my bondmate. Restraint wins galaxies. The link cut amid growls, but feeds captured it. Neutrals like Archivist Nematol logging the exchange, her tendril notes flickering. Korathi captain endorses human protocols. Nemez's shuttle feed reached Rook later. The Illithic's bioluminescent fronds pulsing thoughtfully. Your capture sways archives. Dominion legitimacy fractures. Across the void on Vrax Prime's command bastion, Warmaster Zath Vrain's claw descended. 2 aides knelt, trembling, hesitant on the Veil 7 dispersal. Treachery undermines conquest. His plasma blade hummed once, twice. Heads rolled. Ichor pooling. Compliance or death. Accelerate fallback. Officers scattered, whispers of fear cascading through ranks. Command nets glitched under the strain. Desertions ticked up 5% in hours. Vrain's terror tactics boomeranged, eroding his own chain. Rook saw the opening in intel drips. In strategy core, he laid out the offer with Sayari at his side, her input sharpening the terms. Conditional amnesty, surrender-held civilians, yield targeting on Vrain's depots, pathway to alliance. Broadcast galaxy-wide, prefixed with lab proof. Dominion serves conquest. Humanity serves law. Defect. And live. The first taker came at dusk cycle, Captain Drask Vosik, Dominion Corvette commander, hailing from the outer drifts. His carapace cracked with stress fractures, voice gravel through translator. Amnesty accepted, civilians aboard. 200 humans, intact. Data packet, Vrain's fallback. Last stand fortress around the Imperial relay gate at Theta Relay. He's massing there, all reserves. Break it, end him. Rook processed the packet, TAC nets lighting with fortified grids, gun spires, minefields. The gate's warp nexus anchoring Dominion supply. Elias leaned back, the bridge crew holding steady despite fatigue shadows under their eyes. Sayari's scales brightened fractionally, a rare nod. Your mercy breeds defection. Vraxians break first, not mercy, Rook said quietly, plotting ingress vectors while med teams triaged strike wounded. Justice with a door. Casualty boards updated. Another medevac from the moon. Voss's team collapsing into bunks after 72-hour decon sprints. Humans kept going, stitching the impossible. Nemez archive pinged. Human resilience defies models. Korathi liaison integrates fully. Paradigm shift. Vrain's fortress loomed in Sims. The war's pivot. Elias felt Sayeri's presence beside him. No longer resentment but shared resolve. The compact forging battlefield steel. The galaxy watched. Aliens like Neme tabbing frenzied research on human endurance thresholds. Korathi hardliners quieting. Ordinary work, extraordinary yield. Theta, relay called. Elias Rook's finger hovered over the commit key. The bridge's red emergency lighting carving shadows across his face. Theta assault. All elements. Execute. His voice cut through the hum of strained consoles, steady as the deck plates beneath his boots. Drones swarmed from the fleet's ventral bays, painting false signatures across the relay gate's sensor net. Ghost squadrons mimicking Vrain's missing heavies, buying the real strike precious seconds. Sayeri stood at his shoulder, her Korathi frame rigid, mandibles clicking faintly in what Elias had learned was focused anticipation. The mating compact bound them now in more than politics. It was this, shared command under fire. Her eyes flicked to the tactical overlay, where marine drop pods streaked toward the gate's equatorial stations. Deception holds at 87%, she reported, her translated voice a low rasp. Cyber teams report blackout in progress. Elias nodded, already pivoting to the next layer. Multitasking came as natural as breathing. Logistics feeds in one window, firing solutions in another. Marine vitals scrolling third. Humans didn't flag after 36 hours without sleep. They adapted. Patterns emerging from chaos. Blackout confirmed. Marines, synchronized landings on my mark. Fire support suppress only. No gate structure hits. The relay gate loomed in the main holotank, a colossal ring of Vraxian alloy piercing null space, its perimeter bristling with defensive spines. Theta was the Dominion's throat. Sever it, and Vrain's remnants choked. Alarms wailed as the first enemy batteries lit up, but the cyber blackout had bitten deep. Half their targeting arrays went dark, firing blind. Marine pods slammed home, mag clamps biting into hulls amid breaching charges. Elias watched Sergeant Hale's squad feed. Contact, heavies in the core bay. Suppressing, no panic, just work. His fleet's corvettes danced in, lasers carving precise paths through the deception screens, while railguns hammered shield generators. Cost of war tallied in real time. 1 frigate venting atmo, 18 Marines down. Elias felt the controlled fury coil in his gut, not rage, but the grim math of necessity. Vraxians had glassed habitats full of children. This was proportionality, layered and relentless. Then the info-war payload hit. Elias keyed the burst. Holographic projectors seated across neutral channels beamed Vrain's lost fleets. Grainy intercepts of hulks adrift, captain's log scrubbed clean, and defector testimony from the border skirmishes. Warmaster Vrain's strategy fails. The synthesized voice boomed in Vraxian trade tongue. Surrender and live. Panic rippled outward. Perimeter pickets broke formation, clusters of gunships peeling off in ragged retreats, white flags pulsing on tight beam. Surrender pings flooded the net. Dozens, then hundreds. Elias allowed a tight smile. Pattern recognition. Vraxians thrived on conquest terror, exposed the fractures, and their cohesion shattered. But Sayeri's console flared. Neutral observers trapped in the outer habrings, Korathi escorts Elithics, even some Dominion non-coms. Battles spilling over. Her claws tapped urgently, diverting her liaison teams. I'm carving protection corridors, lance batteries on standby for cover fire. Elias glanced her way, noting the strain. Korathi warriors prized direct assault, not this babysitting under fire. Yet she adapted, her orders crisp, corridor alpha secure. Divert Marines from secondary spines, prioritize evac. It slowed their push, resources stretched thin, but the compact demanded it. Neutrals watched, precedence mattered. Elias rerouted 2 squadrons without hesitation. Approved. Hold the gate assault at 50%. Marines consolidate landings first. The cost mounted, a corvette shredded by a lucky spinal lance. Marines pinned longer under fire. His bridge crew, human and allied, worked without complaint. Endurance their quiet edge. A Korathi gunner at auxiliary controls blinked his multifaceted eyes in disbelief. Humans, you fight through the fatigue veil. How? Practice, Elias said simply, eyes locked on the tank. No arrogance, just fact. Then the detonations came. Vraxian commanders cornered, blue civilian shields. Hab rings erupting in fireballs, venting non-combatants into the void as deliberate cover. Screams ghosted through open channels, debris fields blooming. Elias's jaw set. All units, fire holds on those sectors. Precision capture teams only. Drones for breach, Marines for extract. No area denial. Losses spiked. Teams raking fire across open bays. Friendlies caught in the blast shadows. 27 down in minutes, medevac strained. Fury tested his restraint, but rules held. War crimes birthed monsters. They would not become that. Sayari's mandibles flared wide, a Karathi curse escaping. They shield with their own, barbarians. She pushed her corridors harder, her team shielding Illithic shuttles amid the chaos. From the embedded feeds, Archivist Nemetal's voice piped through, calm amid the storm. The Illithic observer floated in a protection corridor, tendrils weaving data slates at impossible speed. Recording. Human forces maintain proportionality. Fire holds despite detonations, casualties mounting, yet no reprisal strikes. Dominion propaganda claims savagery. This disproves. Neme's crystalline eyes widened fractionally, a physiological tell of shock. Back on her carrier, aides scrambled, cross-referencing human military doctrine. They endure losses that would break Karathi phalanxes, one muttered. And the multitasking, command nodes juggling deception, cyber, ground, info war, simultaneously. Impossible for baseline traders. Neme tabbed deeper. Human historical archives. Endless campaigns of restraint under atrocity. Respect flickered in her logs. Beamed galaxy-wide, eroding Vraxian legitimacy node by node. Elias felt none of it. Just the next decision. Gate spines falling, but corridors strained. Evac shuttles crawling under fire. Then Vrain struck back. Alert screamed. A Dominion battle cluster warping in from the fringe. Heavies arrowing straight for Halcyon Spire's survivor convoys. The massacre site's remnants. Lena's relief flotilla, packed with displaced families. Hung vulnerable. The bait Vrain craved to rekindle terror. He's splitting our focus. Elias growled, holotank updating with red icons. Theta assault teetered, push hard, and the convoys died. Pull back, and the gate held, no choice. Commit last reserve. Battle group Echo to Spire intercept. All gunships, escort priority. It gutted the main push. Marines hanging on skeletal lines at Theta. Elias's mind raced patterns. Vrain's desperation play, predictable from defector psych profiles. But holding both? Endurance frayed even for humans. Sayari turned to him, her gaze locking. Compact mate, battlefield equal. Her lance teams poised, split between corridors and the Spire run. Elias. Your reserves, shield the weak, but Theta fractures without them. The decision hung. Stand with him on the gate, or pivot to Spire's evac, her honor dueling the bond. Her mandibles stilled, resolve hardening. The galaxy's eyes burned brighter. Elias met Sayari's gaze across the flickering holotac display, the bridge thrumming under emergency reds. Her lance teams blinked as icons on the grid, poised at the corridors, half committed to the Spire evac run. Theta sector was splintering, Vraxian raiders probing for the kill. Theta holds, he said, voice level, fingers dancing over the console to shunt reserves. I've layered it 3 deep. Your lances plug the breach. They'll break on us. Her mandibles clicked once, sharp as a blade sheathing. Honor pulled her to the Spire's civilians, but the compact bound her here, to him. She signaled her teams, pivot to Theta. As you plot, mate, but if they feint terror on the weak, they won't reach them. Elias keyed the execute. His trap snapped shut. What Vrana's scouts saw as a soft evac lane was bait. Human corvettes in feigned retreat, drawing the Dominion counterstrike into a noose of prepositioned minefields and Korathi lance volleys. Drones from his logistics wing, those tireless haulers humans ran double shifts on without a murmur, had seeded the choke points hours ago. Multitasking came natural. While Sayari's warriors primed blades, his crews juggled resupply, cyber intrusions, and fire support, no one flinching at the grind. Vrane's feint crumbled in minutes. Vraxian frigates bloomed into plasma fireballs. Their terror squads vaporized before they could loose a single boarding pod on the Habs. Elias watched the encirclement tighten, human destroyers wheeling in flawless formation, adaptable, pivoting from defense to killbox without a stutter. "Evac security green," he reported to the fleet net. "Push to relay gate." Sayuri's crest flared, her eyes widening at the grid. Humans didn't tire like Korati. They endured, stacking ops until the enemy blinked first. "Your reserves," they were ghosts. Vrane walked into shadows. "Logistics first," Elias said simply, already cueing the next phase. No boast, just fact. Her warriors surged into the gap, blades carving through stunned Vraxian flanks, but it was human pattern recognition that had foreseen the feint, cross-referencing Vrane's old conquest logs with current drone chatter, connecting terror doctrine to this exact play. The relay gate loomed ahead, a spinning nexus of Dominion control. Vrane's command ship docked like a bloated spider at its core. Elias's cyber teams, those same multitasking crews who'd run evac under fire, slipped the locks, human hackers, improvising code from scavenged Vraxian scraps, bypassed rote alien firewalls that assumed brute force cracks. Gates ours. Boarding parties, green light. Marines in void suits poured from assault shuttles, mag boots clamping hulls as they cut through. Elias tracked it from the tech, Sayuri at his shoulder, her breath hissing through vents. Vraxian boarders met them in the bays, claws and shock lances versus human breaching charges and disciplined fire. No rage, just controlled volleys. Suppress, flank, secure. A Marine squad took point losses, 2 down to plasma burns, but they pressed, endurance turning the breach into a rout. Creativity shone in the breach. One team jury-rigged a Dominion bulkhead into an EMP pulse, frying Vraxian exosuits mid-charge. Vrane's ship fell silent. "Command seized," came the report. "War Master in custody. Organized resistance collapsing." Sayuri's mandibles parted in a rare Korathi grin. "Respect, not shock. Your humans fight as one mind. Galaxy whispers of traitors. This is a storm." Elias nodded to the viewport where Dominion hulls struck colors. "Storm with rules. Your lances take custody. Enforce our standards." She led her teams aboard the hulks, Elias's Marines handing off prisoners in good order. Vraxian warriors, crests low in defeat, expected slaughter or chains. Instead, Sayuri's voice boomed through translators. "You yield honorably. No torment. No sport kills. Human compact demands humane hold. Med scans, quarters, trials fair." Her warriors enforced it, confiscating blades but offering field rations, human synth protein bars. Tough but sustaining. One Vraxian sub-commander snarled, "Softness breaks you." Sayuri's crest snapped high. "Softness? They encircled your War Master while shielding our weak. Test it and see fracture." The prisoners stilled, mandibles drooping as Marines, bloodied but steady, patched their own wounded alongside Korathi medics. Collaborative, humans shared trauma gels, aliens their nerve stems. The mate compact wasn't politics anymore. It functioned, her people seeing humans bond packs across void, resilient where Vraxians shattered. Deeper in system, Lena Rook directed the chaos from a battered relief frigate, her brother's fleet carving space for her work. Casualty lists scrolled her console, names from the border Habs, children among them. The atrocity that lit this war, but she channeled it. No tears now, just grim coordination. Reunification Alpha, Hab Theta clear, survivors to triage bays. Logistics, double shift the fab printers. Shelter modules first. Her teams, human civi contractors who'd endured weeks of blackouts and alerts, multitasked like breath. Sorting refugees, cataloging losses, routing aid. A Korathi aid lance watched, crests twitching. "Humans falter at endurance," their lead muttered. Lena overheard, pattern recognizing the doubt. "We don't falter. We adapt." She handed a toddler to its kin, then keyed veteran care reforms. Fleet command. Casualty manifests uploaded. Push for neural rehab funding. Civilian shield protocols. Public nets live. Let the core sectors see the cost. The lists forced reckoning. Holocausts lit with human faces, not vengeful, but determined. Veterans maimed but optimistic. Families rebuilding. Galactic feeds buzzed. Illithic recorders like Nemetal captured it all. Lena felt the shift. Her work sustaining the fleet, turning grief to steel. A flaw nagged. Her push for mercy clashed with calls for blood, but she pressed, moral line firm. Elias stood on the captured command deck. Vrane shackled before him. Sayeri at flank, her presence a bridge to neutral observers. The War Master's eyes burned defiance. Terror bends worlds. Yours will crack. Terms, Elias said, projecting the offer fleet-wide galaxy net open. No fury. Controlled, as always. Leaders to tribunals. Atrocities documented. Fair judges from Concord worlds. Demilitarization corridors. Your raiders stripped. Reparations. Hab rebuilds. Orphan funds. Compliant worlds reintegrate monitored. No grudges if you keep peace. Vrain laughed. A rasp. Mercy? Weakness. Sayeri stepped forward. Blade sheathed. Strength. They could glass you wrote, but choose law. My compact mate proves it. Her people, watching via lance feeds, murmured, humans weren't monsters, they wielded total war with reins. Neme Tal, the Olithic archivist, embedded with Sayeri's escorts, finalized the archive in a quiet alcove. Tentacles flew over data slates, weaving feeds. Rook's encirclement, humane boardings, Lena's logistics knitting wounds. Humans prefer trade, she narrated, voice modulating for galactic broadcast. Peace their norm, slaughter innocents. They're young, they're habs, and total war wakes. Restrained, overwhelming, merciful, at end. Provoke the sleeper again. And corridors become graves. She transmitted. Final log, stamped neutral. Feeds erupted. Korathi crests rising in respect, other species querying human histories. Sayeri's kin pinged her. Compact mates, people? Allies worth the bond. With guns quiet, Sayeri turned from the console, Elias at her side. Her people's decision loomed. Monsters, or pieces unyielding wardens. Her mandibles stilled, gaze locking his. The galaxy held breath.